Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and I have a brand new game for you guys, Hard West. Now, this is a turn-based tactical combat game, very similar to XCOM. Now, obviously, it has a different theme than XCOM, being a Western, as you can see from this title screen. But that's not all that sets it apart from XCOM. It has some unique gameplay mechanics that I found pretty interesting in what little of the game I've played so far. But let's go ahead and jump into the game. Now, all I've done is that the very first mission, which you have the option to play as a tutorial. I followed that tutorial so I could figure out how the game worked, but we will be starting from scratch so you guys can see the beginning. Now, there are 3 difficulty settings here: easy, medium, and hard. And you also have some modifiers: combat injuries, which will give your characters debuffs as they get damaged badly, and Iron Man. If you lose a critical character, you have to start the scenario from scratch. I'm not going to use either of these modifiers on my first playthrough. I'm just going to play with medium difficulty. From what I've seen so far, it's pretty difficult even on medium. So let's go ahead and start up.
The Old West was a hard place. The only thing in abundance was poverty and firearms. Combine alcohol and hopelessness with greed, envy, lust, and pride, and death is often the result. Crude cabins stood alone in the wilderness, cut off from the outside world. People knew to mind their own business, but isolated, they grew ignorant and superstitious. Some said the devil walked the earth. Said lost souls haunted and possessed the living, pushing them past the edge of sanity. In this harsh and dangerous country, no one had it easy, including your family. You were 6 years old when you traveled the Oregon Trail with your mother and father. Food was scarce, and your father, despite being a fine tracker and a crack shot, failed to find any game. It was as if every animal on the trail was spooked by some evil force. Your old man found a small village and tried to trade equipment for food, but this village was overrun by outlaws. They took your mother and decided to trade you and your father to white slavers. But he managed to break free, told you to hide, and set out to save her.
All right. So for this first mission, you have the option to run the tutorial or not. I'm going to say no, because I've already run through the tutorial. Now, some of this might look pretty familiar to you if you've ever played XCOM, especially the way that the movement mechanics work and the cover system works. If you look at my character above his head, there are these 2 stars, and you can also see these 2 stars over in the lower left corner. Those indicate my action points. Every character will have 2 action points to spend each turn. So very similar to XCOM here. You can either move twice, move and shoot, move and do another action that only consumes 1 action point, and so on. Now, some unique elements are the stats that you have here. You have luck and your actual hit points. Now, the luck is a consumable that not only fuels some abilities, but it's also what will be consumed first when you're shot at. So if somebody shoots at you, depending on what their chance to hit you is, a certain amount of your luck will be consumed to save you hit points. Once you've lost all of your luck, you'll actually start taking your hit point damage. You lose all your hit points, you die. As you take hit point damage, you will regain some luck, but otherwise, once luck is gone, it's gone. Now, the one complaint I will have for this game is the very much the lack of tooltips. Now, for instance, when I hover over this shoot, all you see is just shoot. It doesn't really explain what that does. This is more of a problem when you get to actual abilities. For instance, fanning. As we can see here, fanning, we have no idea what it does until I actually click on it. Let's go ahead and move forward. Also, you have my inventory here, which has a single weapon, which is a 6-shooter. It has 6 shots out of 6, and it has a range modifier. This indicates whenever I put my mouse somewhere, you can see it's starting to scale out to show me what the range modifier is. So as we go out, the chance to hit's going to get worse and worse. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some cover here, and we'll have my first opponent. Now, one interesting element to this game is shadows. This will give you an indicator of where a character is. If you can see that shadow, you might not actually be able to necessarily see them, but you'll have an idea of where they are. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see that gameplay mechanic work a little bit later. But let's go ahead and shoot this character. So we see we have a 70% chance to hit. This is based off of the range, and it will do 4 damage if we hit him. We can see in that red number here, he only has 2 hit points, so if I hit him and do hit point damage to him, he will die. Now, as you can see with my character, I have 8 hit points, which is also shown here in the lower left. So let's go ahead and confirm that. All right, I missed, but you see that it consumed some of his luck. We got shot at, and that also consumed some of our luck, but it did miss. Sounds like we're starting to get a little bit swarmed here. Now, we do have to worry about being flanked, just as you would in XCOM, as one way to get around cover. For instance, this guy is in full cover. If we move here, we'll be in half cover, designated by the half shield, but we've negated his full cover. Now we can shoot him. Now, one thing I must point out, though, is this ability fanning, you need 2 action points, so we can't use that quite yet, but maybe we'll get an opportunity in the future. All right, so we have a 100% chance to hit him this time. And we do, and he's dead. Okay, so now that that's done with, I'm just looking around to make sure we can't see any shadows. I'm going to go ahead and reload. Now, another interesting element of this game is that when you reload, you don't necessarily reload all of the ammunition that that weapon can hold. This simulates the reality of the situation of a lot of firearms at the time, especially the 6-shooters at the time, where you could only reload 1 at a time. So in this instance, I'm going to reload 2 because, well, I only need to reload 2, but I think the maximum for this firearm is 3 rounds. Okay, so we've done a reload. I actually don't know how to skip my turn if there is a way. Ah, there we go, end turn. Just to play safe, I'm going to stay in this cover and end my turn. All right. Let's see. Can we find any good cover anywhere? Now, one thing I can do here is I can modify this cover. And what that does, and you can kind of see that that's going to work there if I right-click there. What that'll do is it will flip up that cover and give me convert half cover into full cover. There's a kind of, I don't know if this is a well or a cellar door or something, but it flips up a door that will give me more full protection. Unfortunately, I think that would leave me too much out in the open because we do know a guy ran over here somewhere. So probably a better move would be to get into cover somewhere over here. Now, I don't want to use my whole turn to do that, though. So what I'm thinking about is... That's funny that there's absolutely no cover anywhere over here. Maybe I can move here and be okay. Now, as far as I know, there's no Overwatch mechanic like what you have in XCOM, which I kind of like having an Overwatch, but we'll go ahead and end the turn here. All right, we see a guy come to the window. He's probably going to take a shot at us. It's pretty long range, and we have full cover, but it did consume some of our luck, which is unfortunate. Now, we could try and shoot back at him, but the range is pretty extreme. See, 34% chance to hit. Only 1 damage at that range, possibly modified by the full cover that he has. So I am not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is move to here, see if we can find that one guy. There he is. And we'll go ahead and shoot him in the back. 70% chance. There we go. We got him. Now, we do have a kind of a problem here in that we don't have a whole lot of luck left. Now, I think I'm going to want to move up here and get into full cover. and get an idea of what's down this avenue. All right, so we see somebody here. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at him. It's a 100% chance, but it'll only do 2 damage as opposed to more than that because of, I think, the full cover. It also consumes some of his luck. He's, of course, going to flank us, which is unfortunate. I think we're going to take you out. We did gain some luck there, though. Now, I think this red radius... Now, this wasn't something that was talked about in the tutorial, but I think this red radius is a radius where if we move into, he kind of gets a reaction. Now, clearly, we don't get one of those, but maybe if I had kept an action point available, we would have. Let's see what our chance to shoot him is. It is 100%, and we would kill him. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. But you can see how brutally difficult this game is. Now, obviously, shooting will consume both of your actions, so you have to be wary of that. All right, so this guy is out in the open, I believe. Let's go ahead and try this fanning out. So as we can see here, this is going to allow us to shoot 3 shots, but it will give us a 20% penalty for each of these shots. So let's go ahead and confirm that. And there we go, we got him. Now this has left us in an interesting position because we are now out of ammunition. So we're going to have to reload. But we can then shoot just a normal shot. And we will get a full 100% chance to hit. So he will die. There we go. And I will then reload. We do have 100% or 100 luck now, so that's good. Let's reload. And might as well just finish off the turn reloading. Now, we don't have very many hit points left, so we're going to have to be very careful here. And unfortunately, I don't think I can get into any cover here and what turn allotment I have. So I could run up here and get into full cover, but if there's anybody in this room, they could easily just run out and get around me. Maybe here would be a safer move. All right. So we hear some movement, but we don't know. Now we can jump through this window, or we can come in here. I think I'm going to come in here, see what we can see.
Nowhere to be found. You had to make sure no one shot him in the back while they looked more carefully.
I'm going to end my turn. Hopefully I get some kind of reaction if somebody comes in with 1 action point. Alright, so we see a bad guy. Now we can't shoot him though because we can't actually really see him, or we don't have a clear shot here. I'm going to move here. And now we can see him. He looks pretty much out in the open, so let's just make sure he's triply dead. So we've got an 80%. Oh, that's right. We need 2 action points. So we're going to just do the 100% chance to hit him. This should kill him.
Called the box. What was in it?
All right, so there's a box here.
The simple wooden box contained a head. Your mother's head. The simple wooden box contained a head. Your mother's head. She couldn't be saved, but he had to make sure you're safe. Afterwards, your father found one of the gunmen still alive. The dying man rambled on about some unholy obligation, about promises made by the devil himself, and the rewards they would find in hell.
All right, we had a little bit of a glitch there due to I think it was me changing the camera, but it repeated the dialogue twice. No big deal. I didn't notice it on my first playthrough. I am going to eye here just a second and see how long the recording is. I think this is going to be the first video I put up, but I plan to make a series out of this. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner signing out.